Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Flame Emperor episode number 503 based on novel. So let's start. With a palm whistling, countless sacred and ancient powers suddenly poured out from the void of this great hall, and at the same time blasted away at the position of the evil ***** body below. Among them, the orange-gold ancient fire palm carried a touch of indescribable heaven and earth. Divine power, extremely powerful. Senior is a good way. Seeing the supreme blow of the reincarnation flame of the heavenly Tao, the fierce light in Xiao Yang's eyes quickly faded away. Xiao Yang's soul power made him clearly feel that the orange-gold giant palm in front of him was spinning and twisting rapidly, like a touch of divine punishment, tearing everything apart, and roaring away at the immobilized evil spirit body, causing him to roar away. The latter trembled in his heart. The reincarnation of the heavenly Tao incarnates the source of the holy flame, and forges the supernatural fighting skills of the divine level. The power of one palm may be enough to completely obliterate it. What about immortality and immortality? If the latter was instantly bombarded with no ash left, immortality and immortality would be just a joke. In the vortex of the abyss, the sky and the earth changed color, the wind was blowing, and a flaming giant palm seemed to span a long time and space, tearing apart countless voids and evil forces in the vortex of the abyss, and instantly carried a wave of destruction that was enough to shock the world, showing no mercy. Swept into the bottom of the vortex where the evil ***** body was dormant below. Seeing such a lifeless move of Tiandao reincarnation flame, Xie Ying's heart froze, and then he controlled the evil spirit body, the most powerful force of immortality and evil spirit body, and vented out without reservation, trying to resist Tiandao reincarnation flame's attack. Bang! The fire palm viciously slammed into the whole body of the heretic god's body. Although the heretic god's body burst out with an extremely bright evil aura to resist, the extremely surging holy flame destructive power still caused the body of the heretic god's body to gradually retreat. Stand up! The roar of grief continued to pour out from the bottom of the abyss vortex, and pieces of black fragments of the stump were scattered randomly. The roar of grief actually caused the entire vortex to become fragmented. Under the devastating blow of the reincarnation flame of the heavenly Tao, the entire abyss vortex collapsed in an instant, and the strange power of the evil god's body, which was immortal and immortal, disappeared rapidly under the watchful eyes of several people. Above the body of the heretic god, there is a dark ray of light looming on his chest, and the rays of light are gushing out, which is actually resisting the destruction attack of the reincarnation flame of the heavenly realm, and even some of the corrosive and destructive power caused by the power of the holy flame on the body of the heretic god was wiped out by this. The halo is recovering quickly, but even the heretic god body, after continuously resisting such fluctuations, the immortality and indestructible power in the body now seems to be more and more dim, as if it will be completely extinguished at any time. You bastards! A sinister and resentful voice sounded from the bottom of the abyss vortex, and the overwhelming evil aura gushed out incessantly. But no matter what the latter did, it seemed that under the attack of the reincarnation of the heavens, it was a little pale and powerless, waiting for him, only sadly lost. It's a little bit. The holy flame fire palm is extremely powerful, but the heavenly Tao Samsara flame knows that this kind of attack is enough to seriously injure the heretic god, but it is still close to destroying him. The brilliance of the devil. Seeing that there was still a little bit of strength below to completely obliterate the heretic god body, the demonic power of the demon Xiao Yang was released in an instant, and suddenly formed a trail of majestic soul mountains behind him. The mountain of demon souls that formed the incomparably evil spirits suddenly descended. You idiots who deserve to die. You forced me. At this moment, the angry voice of the blood-robed evil shadow was particularly harsh. The joint attack of Xiao Yang and Tiandao Samsarayan caused the fear hidden in his heart to slowly permeate. Under this level of attack, even the undead and immortal artifact of the filthy monarch is invincible. He really felt the threat of death coming. However, he was not a hesitant either. When he realized that he had nowhere to go, his eyes suddenly stared at the figure of the throne above the ruins in the distance. Where is his real purpose? The heretic god body is powerful, but compared to the filthy evil monarch, it is slightly inferior. Destroy. The two majestic voices of the demon Xiao Yang and Tiandao Samsarayan sounded, and the two attacks immediately tore apart everything, and all the black energy in the evil vortex below, like residual ice encountered fire, quickly melted and purified away. Watching this scene, the two of them breathed heavily in their hearts, but no one noticed that there was an extremely pure power slowly condensing on the heretic god's body that was facing the collapse. The skin of the heretic god's body, above the body, is also like being ignited in an instant, and the extremely evil aura is instantly purified and swallowed, and a wave of fluctuations that will explode completely at any time becomes more and more intense. The reincarnation flame of the heavenly Tao. The Lord of the endless fire territory, this time it is indeed my seat's misstep. But do you think that you can stop the plans of our alien race? A frantic low-pitched roar suddenly came from the body of the evil who was about to shatter and disappear, and swept out with a suffocating gloomy aura. What the is this guy doing? Hearing this, Xiao Yan was slightly stunned, but because the sky-shattering fluctuations in the abyss vortex below were too frightening, he did not dare to investigate his soul power. With the heretic god body, let's fall here completely. The reincarnation flame of heavenly Tao appeared, and the power of endless holy flames poured into it. Immediately, the entire abyss vortex, countless holy flames fluttered, and all the evil breaths could not escape, and they quickly disappeared. Bang! The energy of the reincarnation flame of the heavenly Tao slanted into it, and the evil god body suddenly made a sudden noise, and there were countless humming sounds. King, wake up. Right of all evils. Looking at the current situation where there is no way out, the body of the evil body suddenly shrank strangely, and then a dark light group as black as ink, like a shooting star, quickly poured out of the abyss vortex, which turned out to be it was swept away from the main hall, and endless magic radiance bloomed on it. You all have to die. Sooner or later, one day, our extraterritorial evil race will conquer the world. The miserable, frantic roar, piercing the heart, contained a gloomy and vicious meaning, turned into a circle of the hottest and evil fireworks, and reverberated throughout the hall. At this moment, all the power of the evil body and the blood-clothed evil shadow was completely submerged in the earth-shattering energy explosion below. What is that? Yunyun's beautiful eyes tightened, and the holy flame in her body instantly became agitated, and she stared at the evil light group that swept out from the abyss vortex below. A touch of unease appeared in her heart. This volatility is not good. The evil spirit body and the blood-clothed evil shadow completely fell, but the dark group of light instantly escaped the control of Xiao Yang and the two of them. When it reached the top of the main hall, there was a sudden sound, like a flower, and it exploded completely. The tyrannical fluctuations produced by the explosion caused the eyes of the reincarnation of the heavens to shrink slightly, and a touch of unprecedented fear filled his heart. The evil power exploded like a stamen, and the strange fluctuations it produced instantly coated the void of the entire hall with a layer of dark aura, and the aura was filled with a puzzling power. That power does not seem to have any powerful destructive power, but it is full of an extremely strong calling. That kind of power was not fatal to Xiao Yang and the others, but at this time, due to the existence of these powers, the body of the ancient king who had been sitting quietly on the ruins of the hall actually shook strangely. His fingers flicked, and his eyelids twitched slightly. What's more important is that this guy has a layer of dark blood and energy, which forms an incomparable energy gauze, covering the body of the six-path reincarnation immortal. Above the gauze, there are soul basses that sway people's hearts one after another, constantly calling for the six paths of reincarnation immortals. Humph! Has the real highlight finally arrived? Foul evil lord wakes up. Xiao Yang, you absolutely cannot escape from here this time. All of you have to die. The only winner is Tang Feng. In the dark part of the hall, Tang Feng was holding a strange item in each of his hands. One is naturally half of the remnant of the reincarnation cave, and the other is quite illusory, but it releases extremely terrifying power, protecting Tang Feng from the evil power and holy flame power here. Bang! In the eyes of the demon Xiao Yang, a hint of consternation suddenly flashed, and the power of the demon was vented out, and he smashed the blood-colored gauze above the throne without reservation. The dazzling radiance of the devil gushed out, obscuring the sun, but such a powerful attack, when it spread around the throne, it instantly solidified, and then it shattered little by little. Bang! At the same time, the blood-colored gauze shattered instantly, turning into a smear of blood and pouring it on the body of the six-path samsara immortal. I saw the figure on the throne moved slightly, and then a seven-color halo emerged from its body, and finally shone on the throne. The seven-color halo, like a piece of filth, just spread, and then all the holy flame power in the entire hall instantly turned into powder. Surrounded by the seven-color halo, the thin figure on the throne finally stood up slowly, and those ancient eyes that had been through the vicissitudes of life slowly opened. In an instant, countless dark auras in the hall roared and ran wildly, sending out a burst of maddening hot aura. The evil spirits are everywhere, as if cheering, welcoming the return of their evil gods. This guy is the filthy evil prince. At this moment, a burst of dizziness struck Tiandao Samsarayan's mind. Although he didn't want to admit it, the voice of Tiandao Samsarayan seemed particularly solemn. The sixth evil outside the realm, the filthy evil monarch, controls extremely strange emotional power, and can even use the emotions of human beings as the main force to kill people in the air. This kind of method is probably countless times more tyrannical than Xiao Yang's previous conquest of the Jinglian demon fire in Doqi continent. The immortality and immortality of the evil artifact is only his auxiliary power. What is truly terrifying is the filthy evil monarch, the sixth evil outside the realm. His strength. The demon Xiao Yang did not move, but protected Yun behind him. The blood of the demon was filled with unruly fluctuations. The power of the devil has never been afraid of any powerful power. In the eyes of the devil's power, he is the braver he fights. Even if it encounters an invincible opponent, the power of the devil will never show any fear. Either obliterate the enemy, or simply fall. In the dictionary of the devil, there is no fear and escape at all. When he fought with the master before, his strength had already reached the 6th level of reincarnation. Master, relying on the strength of the quasi-6th reincarnation rank and the power of my holy flame, just got lucky and defeated him. Since he can't be completely obliterated, he can only be sealed and suppressed here. A wry smile appeared on Tiandao Samsara's handsome face, and slowly explained some of these things to Xiao Yang and the two. The filthy evil monarch is definitely an opponent he really doesn't want to face. Back then, when he joined forces with a celestial being like the Six Paths Samsara Immortal, it was only a fluke that he defeated him. Now that the two of Xiao Yang are too weak, I am afraid that this battle will be particularly difficult for them. Try it. After all, his current state is just a piece of consciousness. I am afraid that his real strength has not even reached the quasi-6th level. The demon Xiao Yang chuckled lightly. The blood in his body, in his limbs and mind, were all occupied by the blood of the demon. The power of the demon was completely occupied, and a crazy comparison of it emerged. Senior Six Paths Reincarnation Immortal, has he really fallen completely? Nothing left. At this moment, Yun's pretty face was cold for a while, and she asked with a stern face. If things were really so troublesome, waiting for them to fight would be too heavy. Yun naturally didn't want to see Xiao Yang injured or even desperate for it. After all, how can you not feel sorry for your loved one? I don't know about this, can it count? With Yun's instructions, Xiao Yang suddenly realized something, turning the ring in his hand, and a half-image of the reincarnation flame of the heavenly Tao appeared quietly. Boom! At the moment when Xiao Yang and the others were talking, countless evil thunders slowly emerged around the throne of the hall. The thin figure on the throne slowly opened his eyes that had been closed for countless reincarnations, and immediately there was a faint smile on the corner of his mouth. Countless reincarnations, 6 paths. This time, I still won. As soon as the man woke up, he laughed to himself. Evil god body. Was it destroyed? Well, today I will use the power of a few people like you to pay homage to this ***** and break the seal. The eyes of the filthy evil lord were suddenly filled with an endless blackness. Where the dark eyes were looking, the void buzzed and exploded, as if it contained a touch of supreme power beyond Xiao Yang's understanding. Don't worry, I will take you out of here today. But before that, there are still some things that need to be resolved. With his eyes surging, the evil monarch could clearly feel the countless evil forces that resided in this cave. Those powers are all powerful foreigners who were suppressed by the 6 paths of reincarnation immortals. Now, with the appearance of their own breath, they are cheering and roaring. If these powers can be brought back to the outside world, they are undoubtedly a powerful force. The reincarnation of the heavens, whether you fell here on your own accord, or do you have to do it from the gods? The next moment, the eyes of the filthy evil lord suddenly stared at the place where the body of Tiandao Samsarayan stood, and the dark eyes were filled with an invisible anger. Ha ha ha. Foul evil lord, we were able to defeat and suppress you back then, but this time, we will also be able to completely obliterate you. Tiandao Samsarayan held half of the remnant picture given by Xiao Yang in his hand, his eyes full of madness looking at the filthy evil lord, and said lightly, "Something beyond your own power. Today, the gods of Japan will let you fall completely." After the filthy evil monarch finished speaking, he slowly stepped towards the void. In an instant, a 7-colored halo surged out. It turned out to be a very strange wave, like a star curtain, distorting the void in the hall. The star screen trembled and fell down unexpectedly. At the moment when the star curtain fell, It was as if all the powers here had failed in an instant. Its target is the reincarnation flame of the heavenly Tao. The soul-absorbing evil star curtain fell, and the void in the hall exploded in an instant. Countless evil forces were like gorgeous fireworks hidden in the star curtain, exuding extremely terrifying destructive fluctuations, igniting at one point. Those fireworks hidden in the star screen are coquettish and evil, and with a slight shake, they exert their destructive power to the extreme, as if all the creatures here are instantly dead. Looking at this scene, Tiandao Samsarayan's eyes were full of madness, and a very strong source of holy flame suddenly appeared all over the body. He slowly raised his hands and made a dragging posture, ready to resist with his own strength. And go! The star curtain fell silently. Wherever it went, all the spaces instantly became silent. Countless evil fireworks exploded on the way. The brilliant evil halo was so terrifying that it instantly dimmed the hall. The void wung in the torn-apart hall trembled, and even the air was filled with the humming and cheering of countless evil forces. At this moment, the holy flame force burst out with a daring resistance. Evil and holiness are two extreme forces. For them, the two forces have no surrender, but only destruction. Countless residual evil breaths in the void screamed at the same time. They cheer and howl. Their evil is back. Humph. The filthy evil prince was condescending. His laughter was indifferent and without any emotion, as if all the creatures in this hall were dead and wounded. He would never let him frown. No matter how talented and outstanding there are in the great thousand world, in his eyes, they are all ants, and between 1 foot and 1 palm, they can only be wiped out. Retreat. The demon Xiao Yan, Tiandao Samsarayan, and Yunyun joined forces to vent their terrifying offensive. In the end, they were forcibly pushed back hundreds of meters by the waves of this evil sky, and they looked at the filthy evil monarch in front of him with a gloomy expression. The indifferent smile on the filthy evil monarch's cheeks made the three of them feel even more chilled. The sixth evil among the evil tribes outside the realm, the blood stained in his hands is probably already countless. More importantly, he now occupies the body of the 6 reincarnation immortals, and the suppression of the holy flame power has been reduced too much. So much. This body is really wonderful. After the evil star curtain fell, the torn-apart hall shook endlessly, as if it would collapse completely at any time. But foul evil monarch did not act rashly, but slightly twisted his fists and foreheads, and after a while, there was a trace of memorabilia from the corners of his mouth. Now, I'm afraid there are only residual pictures and Jushenzi. In the demon's eyes, a monstrous arrogance suddenly emerged, and in conjunction with the demon's blood in the body, it became more and more intense. I fought with you. You go. The source of holy flame, the shining of thousands of flames. Tiandao Samsarayan looked indifferent. The residual image was thrown to Xiao Yang, and immediately his whole body shook violently and burned. After a while, he opened his mouth and took a breath. In the entire hall torn apart, suddenly there were countless orange-gold rays of light shining out. Above the orange-gold light, the interweaving of arcs and flames turned out to merge into a torrent, completely covering the entire hall. In the torrent, there is the power of endless flames, and countless creatures roar in unison, and the momentum is horrified. It turned out to be slowly breaking through the void, completely opening the countless passages in the entire cave. The 6 puppets, in their respective regions in the cave mansion, countless creatures began to cry, one after another originated from the original sacred source of life, and they crawled away overwhelmingly towards the center of the hall, as if preparing to gather these forces and completely obliterate them. Chulhu. The power of self-destruction? You used this trick once when the 6 Paths reincarnation immortals existed. Now you use it for the second time. Do you really think this evil is an idiot? Kill. Lunglia killing intent instantly tilted down from the filthy evil lord, the 7-color halo flowed, and the filthy evil lord roared angrily. The palm of his hand contained countless emotional powers, and the blood energy rolled, directly turning into a monstrous evil seal. At that time, without any hesitation, he smashed his attack at the reincarnation of the heavenly Tao, which was transformed into a monstrous torrent below. With a terrifying blow from the filthy evil monarch, the 7-color emotional power suddenly crushed the torrent of living beings, and the terrifying evil power and emotional power burst out, and the wave of destruction instantly swept the entire hall. The emotional power of the 7 colors began to collapse, and after a while, the torrent of living beings was crushed away, and an endless 7-color waterfall fell down, forcibly slashed at Xiao Yang and the 2 below, fierce, like a real *** of the sky. Inventing endless anger in general. Those terrifying 7-color waterfalls, even with the current strength of the demon Xiao Yang, I am afraid they cannot resist. The demon Xiao Yang opened his arms and gently embraced Yun Yun in his arms. Immediately, a hidden pattern on the center of his forehead released a scorching halo. In conjunction with a looming ancient heavy ruler behind him, he showed a powerful force that was astonishing to heaven and man. Wake up slowly. Do not want. Looking at Xiao Yang in a calm state now, Yun Yun's heart throbbed suddenly, and an extremely strong unease almost blurted out subconsciously. Yun Yun's beautiful eyes are fixed on Xiao Yang. She naturally knows Xiao Yang's heart, so this is the power of inheritance and the power of artifact of Hua Qing'er in Yun Yun's body, surging at the same time, quite a kind of strange power emerge. Don't worry, I won't die. The devil Xiao Yang didn't say much. He looked at the sky above, the body of Tiandao Samsarayan slowly falling down like a corpse. All the power in his chest burned at the same time. Such a terrifying blow from the samsara of the heavenly path did not cause any substantial damage to the filthy evil monarch. If he was dragging it down, waiting for this guy to adapt to the body of the 6 paths samsara immortal, all of them got to die. Let me. On Yun Yun's pretty face, there was a serious look on her face. Immediately, her body trembled, and the Tai Chi Heavenly Emperor sword in her hand also began to hum, and a terrifying aura that surpassed this world slowly overflowed. Be honest with me. The demon Xiao Yang suddenly lowered his head and scolded the person in his arms sternly. Just as the demon Xiao Yang was about to use his last trump card, 2 extremely ordinary pieces of paper suddenly poured out of Xiao Yang and Tang Feng's bodies uncontrollably. On one side, he resisted the falling Tianmu waterfall in an instant. Letting the gloomy and evil energy in the monstrous waterfall erode, there is no sign of retreating from the residual image. Instead, the 2 residual images are slowly merged, and there is a faint halo around it. After the fusion, a picture full of mysterious lines appeared, and on it, an old figure with white hair could be vaguely seen. His body contained a touch of the fluctuations of the years, and his body did not move at all, as old and tyrannical as a real god's mansion. This is a 6-path reincarnation immortal. How can it be? At this moment, a filthy evil monarch with an indifferent expression in the distance, his body seemed to have been hit by an angry lightning, and he instantly froze in the air. His body was icy cold, and his heart suddenly felt chills, and even a trace of fear poured out of his body uncontrollably. The 2 residual pictures were instantly merged into one, with an illusory figure with an old face on it, quietly stepping out. The moment it appeared, this cave dwelling, which had been silent for countless years, was suddenly full of vitality. Come back to life in an instant. Those creatures shouted wildly, as if they were welcoming the return of their true master. 2 6-path reincarnation immortals. In the distance, Tang Feng, who was watching the battle, looked extremely vigilant. At the same time, he looked at the 6 reincarnation immortals and the filthy evil monarch in the sky above the ancient map. At this time, the bodies of the 2 were exactly the same. Whether it was physical shape or demeanor, the only difference was the breath in their eyes and the oppression emanating from the invisible. One was sacred and the other was extremely evil. They were completely 2 extremes. Lord, Master. When the demon Xiao Yang saw this scene, his body was surging, and he instantly supported Tiandao Samsara Yang and returned to Gu2's shelter. Tiandao Samsarayan just saw the shadow of the old man in front of him, and there was a trace of grief in the corner of his eyes. The master called this so thoroughly and willingly. To be able to make the 3rd sacred flame such a willing master, the strength and shrewdness of this 6 paths reincarnation immortal is probably an unfathomable existence. Little Sana. These years, you've worked hard for you. The phantom of the 6 paths samsara immortal turned back and looked at the dying state of the heavenly path samsara flames, his kind eyes suddenly filled with an invisible oppression and anger. Lord. This guy has already taken control of the body you left behind. Although it hasn't completely fit in yet, it seems very troublesome, but his heretic god body has been wiped out by us. Tiandao reincarnation flame is nourished by the power of Xiao Yang's holy flame, and his complexion instantly recovered a lot, but he still spoke with a solemn expression. What remains in the 2 residual images is only an energy clone of the 6 paths samsara immortal. Compared with the real body, the strength gap is too great. You immortal. How could it not have completely fallen? In the beginning of the war, I tried my best to obliterate you, both physically and mentally. At this moment, in the eyes of the filthy evil lord, there are countless fears pouring out. Even if there is only an energy clone on the opposite side, the prestige caused by the filthy evil monarch is very huge. Because of the prestige that the 6 paths samsara immortals caused to the evil races outside the realm, very few people in the entire Great Thousand World can match. With the power of one person, he has wiped out several foreign royal families, and the powerful kings of all sizes have fallen countless times. Even if the sixth evil himself makes a move, he can only choose to die with him. Countless reincarnations of repressive seals still haven't been able to erase the violence in your heart. If you are still so stubborn, it seems that this time, you will have to be completely wiped out. The six-path samsara immortal slowly looked at the filthy evil monarch, and the gentle voice was transmitted slightly, and it immediately reverberated in the whole world, and even the countless evil forces in the entire cave burst out with a deep fear. This man, the evil aura that was suppressed by the seal was too impressive. An energy clone has the courage to say such words. Let this evil ***** kill you again today, foul and evil brilliance. The voice of resentment and viciousness sounded. The filthy evil lord took a step forward, the entire hall trembled, and all the powers of the seven colors converged into a monstrous evil light, like a setting sun madly swooping towards the six reincarnation immortals standing on the ancient map. And go! At this moment, the countless evil creatures hidden in the cave stopped breathing and shaking at the same time, and their hearts were extremely nervous, because they knew that an extremely fierce battle was about to break out. All the grievances will come to an end in the next battle. After so many years, you still don't understand the tyranny of my six-path reincarnation power. Seeing such a mighty attack, the six-path samsara immortal sneered, and gently extended a finger to point towards the sky. In an instant, the mountains and rivers collapsed, the sun, moon, and stars flowed rapidly, colliding with the evil brilliance in an instant. Bang! A silent and strange wave appeared slightly, and suddenly two attacks were drowned out easily, without causing any sound of explosion at all. You ***** bastard. Death to this evil god. Evil against heaven and earth. The filthy evil lord burst out with endless evil lights, like a piercing evil sun that even shattered and exploded, too bright and fierce. The endless evil power instantly formed an evil giant sun. The giant sun was like a pitch-black cage, and there was a clanging sound during the surging. Within a radius of 10 miles, all living beings and forces were swallowed and suppressed. There are 7 color halos around the evil giant sun cage, and those brilliances that are enough to evoke the power of human emotions tremble slightly, and they are instantly branded on it, forming runes one after another. The aura above the runes is dark, as hot as the slowly burning black magma, incomparably mysterious and complicated, and it also contains a mysterious power that belongs to the law. This time, this evil god, see how you deal with it. Suffer to death. Gathering the wrathful blow of the filthy evil monarch, he leaned down without reservation, and the target was facing the immortal of the 6 paths of reincarnation. 3 reincarnations. Looking at this scene, the 6 paths of samsara immortal stretched out his fingers, flicked his fingers, and golden sword blades appeared out of nowhere, and the flying shots turned into a shower of golden sword. In the golden sword rain, not only the power of the supreme holy flame of the reincarnation of the heavens, but also an extremely strange power. That is reincarnation. The power of reincarnation. But the power of reincarnation seems to be completely different from the power of reincarnation controlled by Xiao Yan. Crack! All the golden sword rain instantly bombarded the giant sun cage, and in an instant, the entire cage was dimmed in the cage, bursts of puffs sounded, and suddenly melted away quickly. His own attacks were destroyed one after another, and the shock and fear in the heart of the filthy monarch became more and more tyrannical. No matter what the world says about them, only they know that if the light is alone, the evil monarch himself is definitely not the opponent of the 6 paths samsara immortal. The 6 paths samsara immortal and the heavenly path samsara yang joined forces to suppress themselves by chance. It was because they had just experienced a war and their remaining strength was insufficient, so they had no choice but to choose a method of suppression. Otherwise, if the 2 of them were at their peak, the 6th evil could only fall under his command. The entire hall suddenly became quiet, but Tang Feng's expression suddenly became strange. It seemed that his goal was not just the 6 paths of reincarnation immortals, but also the evil monarch. In other words, this guy seems to want to use the hands of the filthy evil monarch to obliterate Xiao Yang. At that time, whether it is the reincarnation flame of the heavenly Tao or the Fen Ju in Xiao Yang's body, all of them will be taken into his pocket. The 6-path reincarnation immortal above the ancient map slowly exudes a quaint and strong reincarnation charm in his body. His eyes are slightly narrowed, and he constantly scans something on the 3 bodies behind him. He seemed to be thinking about something. Liu Dao, although this seat can't obliterate your energy avatar, but now you can't obliterate this evil either. And your energy clone has a time limit. Once the time is over, it will completely dissipate here. At that time, all the creatures suppressed by you in the reincarnation cave will break through the bond. The battle between us, in the end, I still won. Wait for me to leave here and return to the outside world to rectify. In the Second World War, your great world will definitely lose. After some testing, the filthy evil lord simply gave up fighting the six-path reincarnation immortal, standing tall in the void, with a calm expression on the corner of his mouth. He occupies his body. As long as he goes through it slowly, victory will be his own sooner or later. You despicable, shameless thing, if it wasn't for you who led the army to sneak attack on the seriously injured master, would you be able to make the master fall just by relying on your strength? Hearing the foul evil monarch speak, Tiendao Samsarayan roared with anger on his face. Back then, they had just wiped out a group of extremely powerful foreign evil clan army, lack of strength in their bodies, and was secretly cultivating and regaining their vitality, but unexpectedly suffered a sneak attack by the sixth evil spirit, and in desperation, they could only choose the method of perishing together. This is also the reason for the rumors spread in the great world later that the two immortals of the six paths of reincarnation joined forces to seal and suppress the sixth evil god. There are many rumors in the world, but very few people really know the truth. Most of them are rumors. Can't kill you? Who said that? At this moment, the eyes of the six-path samsara immortal suddenly stared at the demon Xiao Yang below, and a strange arc appeared on the corner of his mouth. His current situation is indeed as foul evil lord said, but he has forgotten some important things. The six-path samsara immortal had just finished speaking, and above his slightly illusory body, pieces of dazzling reincarnation light began to emerge, vaguely like an invincible wheel of heaven and earth. You. Not good. Foul evil lord suddenly realized something. His body trembled suddenly, and then carried the evil wave that covered the sun and swept towards Xiao Yang, trying to obliterate the latter with one blow. Xiao Yang possesses the power of holy flame, and it is not a holy flame. If this is used by the six paths reincarnation immortal, it will undoubtedly be a disaster for him. Late. Let's clear the account between us here. The dim light spread, and instantly turned into an ancient halo and poured into Xiao Yang's heart, and then Xiao Yang slowly opened his eyes, and his eyes were filled with a wave of ancient reincarnation. The attack bounced off. Master Shengming. At this moment, there was a look of respect in Tiendao Samsarayan's eyes, and he respectfully stood aside and said to Xiao Yang, who had a mysterious demeanor in front of him, "Little guy, borrow your body temporarily." Xiao Yang's eyes flashed with a fold-like pattern of reincarnation, which was profound and powerful, so he muttered to himself, "You." At this moment, seeing the power of reincarnation on Xiao Yang's body that was completely different from before, the filthy and evil heart suddenly trembled violently. Speaking of which, the two of us didn't have a good fight back then. It's here to fulfill this seat's last wish. Xiao Yang let out a small smile, looked at the filthy evil monarch in the distance and smiled lightly. You are dreaming. A dead person should have the appearance of a dead person. Stop pretending to be a ghost. The filthy evil monarch began to panic in his heart, and the evil energy around his body continued to rise, and there was a faint wave of turbulence that was about to be desperate. The strength of the six paths reincarnation immortal is the power of reincarnation, and the power to control the holy flame. Let's settle the grievances between us completely here. Xiao Yang stared at the filthy evil monarch in the distance, and immediately raised his palm gently. The handprint changed rapidly. Crash. At the moment when Xiao Yang's handprint changed, the atmosphere in the entire hall suddenly became strange. Scenes of orange-gold flames swept out from the void, gushing out without warning, and turned into an ancient flame formation that completely enveloped the entire hall. Imprisoned by the void, it seems that all the power of the void is instantly imprisoned by this flame formation. Do you still want to imprison this evil with the help of the heavenly reincarnation formation? The filthy evil lord roared angrily, his entire body spun at high speed, and a storm of blood and blood poured out of his body, tilting unreservedly on the reincarnation sky. At the moment of its attack, the entire formation was also buzzing and twisting, as if it would collapse completely at any time. Will this be okay? Looking at the unparalleled battle of the powerful above the sky, Yun Yun's pretty face was tense all the time, worrying about Xiao Yang all the time. Don't worry, the master has his own plans. Tiendao Samsarayan nodded solemnly to Yun Yun. He followed the six paths samsara immortals countless times, so he naturally knew his master's disposition. Six paths of reincarnation pillar. Seeing the gloomy expression of the filthy evil lord, Xiao Yang smiled slightly, and a low roar resounded through the heavens and the earth, like 1,000 thunders rushing wildly. At the moment of the low roar, the entire space of the reincarnation sky array vibrated violently, and then turned into a strange pillar of fire the size of an arm. Above the pillar of fire, the whole body glowed with orange light, and there were even extremely complex lines engraved on it. Yun Yun's beautiful eyes flicked, and a touch of dizziness appeared in the body, and it didn't disappear for a long time. Evil Lord, you have seen the current situation, why don't you and I cooperate? At this moment, seeing the destructive fluctuations on Xiao Yang's body, Tang Feng suddenly appeared beside the latter and said with a gloomy expression, "Humph, you don't deserve it." The filthy evil monarch looked contemptuous, and immediately opened his ***** mouth and swallowed Tang Feng into his belly. "I am the center of the human world, you." At this moment, Tang Feng's heart was filled with fear of death. Under the blood of the evil god, he had no power to resist. The filthy evil lord didn't hold back any hands when he opened his mouth and closed his mouth. Tang Feng was completely destroyed. Although Tang Feng's abacus was good, he didn't know that what the filthy monarch hated most was human beings. Bang! After swallowing Tang Feng's original life, the coercion of the entire formation space and the pillar of fire suddenly became extremely dim, and under the successive attacks of the filthy evil monarchs, it became illusory. Boom! The filthy evil monarch, who was bathed in the blood-colored orangutan, opened his mouth full of blood, and immediately roared word by word. 6 paths. This kind of attack is useless to me, let me die. The power of filth. The filthy evil snorted coldly, and the majestic evil power slanted out like a majestic torrential rain. The entire reincarnation heavenly array collapsed and shattered from the inside out, and even the entire cave dwelling was vaguely beginning to become loose. Once this place is broken, I am afraid that the foreign eyeliner dormant in the Dacian world will immediately pick up the filthy evil lord. The coercion of an evil ***** is undoubtedly fatal to the Dacian world. The evil god is born, and such shocking information may be enough to set off a real panic wave in the entire Great Thousand World. This video will end here.